It's called Brown Street in Pretoria, but maybe it should be renamed Nyaope Street. That's just one of the lethal concoctions openly on offer as drug-related crimes soar and some police members appear to turn a blind eye. Now, this is a joint investigation, so to speak, between Carte Blanche producer Graham Kutzer and Barry Bateman of Eyewitness News. Back to Debbie.
Meet John and Michael, not their real names. Two severely addicted heroin users from Pretoria.
So this is all, right?
Salt,
And
this is the packet.
what is this?
This is Nyaope, heroin.
There is a misconception that Nyaope is a specific type of drug. It's not. It's simply a mixture of heroin, marijuana, and tobacco.
So wait, how much was this?
This was 35 each.
35 rands will buy you enough heroin for one joint. It's cheap, dirty, and highly addictive.
How many like that do you smoke in one day?
Maybe 4 or 5 a day. It depends with the money.
Nyaope has become the drug of choice for many addicts in Pretoria, mainly because it's relatively cheap and easy to get hold of. The drug is so popular, it's literally flooding the city streets.
This is Brown Street, a few blocks down the road from Union Buildings. It's an open secret in Pretoria. If you want drugs, you make a stop here.
We sent our cameramen, disguised as builders, into an abandoned building along Brown Street. From a concealed position a few floors up, we could stake out the dealers, users, and passers-by outside the various businesses along the alley. Our cameras caught literally hundreds of deals going down in broad daylight.
I was in the police in the narcotics bureau, and this is a problem area since 1997. When I was in the police, Brown Street is a problem area.
Dewald Terbrugge is a private investigator who spent 15 years as a member of the now disbanded SANAB, the South African Narcotics Bureau. After seeing our footage, Dewald said the situation in Brown Street had deteriorated.
I worked with stuff like this, but never on a big scale like this. It's actually scary to see how these people are dealing in open daylight.
This man, who we've dubbed Mr. Blue, is one of the dealers and particularly active along Brown Street. Mr. Blue starts his day from as early as 6 in the morning, when the first addicts looking for a fix arrive. By midday, Mr. Blue and his friends are doing a roaring trade.
Nyaope is like it's a devil. You can't see it, but he's tell you to do things. When you are alone, you feel it. I have to fight Nyaope.
Michael and John wanted to show us just how easy it is to buy Nyaope at Brown Street and offered to wear a hidden camera on one of their daily shopping trips. The footage shows them buying heroin from several dealers. Their final stop is at a dealer who sells rolling papers, marijuana, and loose cigarettes to add into the mix.
Guys, we've just come back from Brown Street. So what did you get?
Small packet of heroin and wheaty, cigarette, Paisla. So it can run. You put the saliva so it can't go fast. We must go slow.
Various media reports have claimed that Nyaope contains anything from rat poison to antiretroviral drugs or ARVs. We arranged for a sample from Brown Street to be tested at the University of Pretoria's Department of Chemistry.
Brown Street was 37% heroin and also 31% of caffeine.
Dr. Tim Lawrence heads up the university's forensic toxicology laboratory. Tim believes reports of Nyaope containing ARVs have been exaggerated.
They claim that it's mixed with ARVs or perhaps sometimes even metal oxides from fluorescent lights. Well, I think in that case the person will only pick up heavy metal poisoning. But I think it's more a myth than that it's actually the truth.
But the mixture of drugs in Nyaope remains a highly addictive cocktail. Michael and John say their addiction has led them to a life of crime.
You do anything, you'll grab anything. You can even grab cell phone and run away.
So you've been arrested before?
Yeah, and many times.
For what?
Possession of drugs, possession of what, you understand? Stealing small particles, maybe to steal someone's phone, you see. But for me, after I find this job for car guarding, no more stealing.
The never-ending drug supply from hotspots like Brown Street are fueling crime waves across the city. The 2014 crime statistics show a 230% increase in drug-related crimes in the Pretoria CBD over the past 5 years. One example of how drugs fuel crime in the city can be found at Schubert Park.
They literally come to you and they tell you, listen, you can build your fence, you can do what you want, but we will come in here and we will steal the steel because we want to sell it to smoke that Nyaope.
Wimpy Basson is a building contractor working on the refurbishment of Schubert Park in the city centre. In September 2011, the city of Tshwane evicted residents from the blocks of flats as they'd become unsuitable for habitation. But when Wimpy and his crew arrived on site a few weeks ago, they were confronted by groups of men stripping the buildings of any steel.
How many were here?
At the stage, there was some days there was 15, some days there were 25. One day there were about 50 guys inside here.
John admits that stolen metal sold to scrapyards is an easy way to feed his habit.
Schubert Park, what's happening there?
So like me, I was there Saturday, I went to take some steel. You see, if you don't have anything you can hustle with, you can go Schubert, you take some steel, you know, you're gonna find 50 bucks to buy some drugs, you see.
The Brown Street dealers don't seem too bothered about where their clients get their money as long as they buy product. This dealer, who we've dubbed the sweeper, often pretends to be cleaning the city's streets. But that's obviously not how he's making his living. Based on deals captured on our footage, we estimate the Brown Street dealers could be making as much as 30,000 to 50,000 rands a day.
The problem is if you arrest one dealer today, tomorrow there's two in his place.
This is Warrant Officer Spook van den Berg. Spook heads up the Pretoria Central Police Station's war on drugs, and he holds the record for the most arrests in 1 month by a single police officer. But he admits it's an uphill battle.
When I arrest a guy, like for possession for Vidaga, or possession of heroin, it goes to court the next day. Then that evidence has to be sent to a lab to concur, yes, that is heroin, or yes, that is cocaine, or yes, that is daga. Tomorrow morning, the case will get withdrawn temporarily against that suspect, and he gets released out back onto the street.
The police have no choice but to release suspects until the results of the drug tests are made available.
And how long does it take before the results are back?
It's supposed to take us 6 weeks, but our labs have a backlog of a year and a half at this stage.
Are there certain policemen who are involved in this?
There's some policemen, they don't want to go because they even talk, we're still waiting for bribe. If you don't give bribe, you can't serve up until they give money to go.
On this morning, we saw a Pretoria Central vehicle with the call sign Papa Charlie 80 stop in front of Mr. Blue and the others, including this man in the striped shirt. 2 policemen order the dealers into the back of the vehicle and they drive off. We have confirmed that Papa Charlie 80 did not return to the police station. Within the hour, the vehicle returns, seemingly to drop the dealers off, and once they've left, it's business as usual for Mr. Blue and his team.
So the South African Police Service is not a taxi service. So what are they loading them for? If you load somebody into a vehicle, it's procedure to have them searched for weapons or anything, because that's how policemen get killed on duty.
Michael and John say they've seen this before and believe there's nothing legit about this kind of police activity.
Dealers, they can climb to the van and then they get a corner, the police go at the back. No, I want 1,000 for all of you here, 4 guys. They bring the 1,000 and unlock for them so they can go.
This footage shows a vehicle from the K9 unit drive slowly up Brown Street and stop beside the drug dealers. The police are approached by this man who we filmed earlier selling drugs. He leans into the vehicle for a few seconds. As soon as he's done, the vehicle drives off.
If you're the police, would you arrive at Brown Street in a marked vehicle wanting to collect intelligence?
No, that's not normal. You wouldn't even meet with your informer nearby there. You'll get your informer and meet him somewhere else. And definitely not in marked vehicle or in uniform.
Suspect behavior.
Suspect behavior, that's 100%.
The police denied our request for an interview, but in a written response said they had identified Brown Street as an area that needed special attention from law enforcement. On the 15th of October, SAPS, Metro Police and officials from various government departments descended on Brown Street. One of the dealers was caught with 40 sachets of heroin, and heroin drops to the value of 11,000 rands were found on the street. The police said corruption by members of the police wouldn't be tolerated, and the South African Police Service would do all in its power to investigate. They also said operations in the area were ongoing.
You have to have equipment and manpower to go after the guy who brought it in.
Meanwhile, the Brown Street dealers continue unabated, and they've started bringing new products onto the market.
There's a new pill I found in Brown Street. It's 350, 400 rand, depends on which deal you buy. It consists of heroin, ecstasy, and cat. You can smoke it or you can inject it. But this pill is extremely lethal.
Deerwoud believes specialized units like SANAP should be reinstated to wage the war on drugs and take on the people who make their living from the trade.
Problem's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's getting out of hand. It's like a market, the flea market. You can just go and walk and buy. It's open for all.